Hey, before I even get started, I have to name it. So many exhausted women, are also the ones who smile in most meetings. They switch their tone mid sentence. Yes, I just said that statement, but you're repeating it. Yeah, I'd love to listen, right? These women, they lead teams while hiding their truth. I mean, this is burnout, but with a double mask. And it's not just exhausting. Let me tell you, it's erasing us. I'm Sophia, and I lead workshops for women crushing it at work, but silently running on fumes, who are ready to lead themselves differently. And today I'm joined by Brooklyn Smith. Sorry, I'll bring her in a second. A brilliant woman who's navigating career, motherhood, and the invisible weight so many of us carry in silence. She is a powerhouse whose journey through personal change, professional growth, and deep reflection, it gives us voice to what so many women are silently carrying. And I wanted her to come on because so many of us are struggling. We never talk about it. And what do? We bury it. So, we're talking about burnout, but not just as something that happens after too much, but as a mode we often live without realizing it. So, today's title, just in case I missed it and I jumped ahead, we're going to talk about beyond burnout, leading yourself when survival mode isn't enough. We're going to talk about what it means to. To experience burnout, not just as something that happens after too much, but as a mode we often live without realizing it. Like, we'll explore just how to lead yourself differently, show up more authentically, and build a life that doesn't require constant recovery. I'm not here, and Brooklyn won't be here either to tell you to self-care your way out of systemic pressure. We're here to talk about what it means to lead yourself differently, especially when the world demands you keep showing up perfect, pleasant, and polished, right? So if you've ever felt like your power is getting lost inside your performance, this conversation is for you. Let me add Brooklyn to the stage here. Brooklyn, welcome. Happy
Hey,
Friday.
happy Friday.
Oh man, there's so much to unpack. I mean, how was your day going so far?
It's going well, and it's Friday. I'm ready to be all done, and that's okay.
Yes. Well, I mean, you're bringing us right into our topic, right? Burnout is survival mode, and sometimes we wear it as a badge of honor, but it really isn't. What did survival mode look like for you? Because I feel like so many high performers, we miss the signs. So, how did burnout show up for you, like in your first job or just in a previous job? And how long did it take before you realized it wasn't normal?
So for me, it took me a very long time, entirely too much time to realize it. Um, as
Yeah.
far as acknowledging it as burnout, I would honestly say about 3 months ago.
Oh wow.
It took
So you're
me,
fresh. It's fresh
yeah,
for you.
very, even more fresh than our first conversation, I'll tell you what. It even took me a couple of months to recognize what was happening,
Mhm.
because I wasn't discerning burnout from the pregnancy that I'm experiencing at the same time. And it's not just, this time with the pregnancy, but even in the past, I'd always blame it on some external factor, or like for this time, it's like, oh, it's just a symptom, or like, oh, I'm just hormonal. It's the I'm
Yeah, yeah,
justifying whatever the situation is. Um, and then I realized it wasn't normal.
yeah,
And at some point, you're forced to sit down, but I'm sure we'll get more into that.
yeah. Well, I like how you pointed that out. There were so many external factors that were easy to point the finger at, right? It's hormones, it's the weather, it's my manager. But like we're talking about, sometimes it's the systems. Sometimes we're doing the work of two head count, right? Sometimes the process is, at least for me, sometimes the process is broken, but where there is a human element to keep, fixing things along the way so that the deliverables get done. Man, it really is like the difference between surviving and leading yourself well. And I think it's like a thin line. So you mentioned that you just are beginning to truly recognize it and put like a name to it. What would you say would be the defining line between surviving and leading yourself well, right? Because I ask because sometimes we live in the burnout zone so long that we don't realize like, wait, this isn't my norm. Like something's a little off.
Absolutely. So to almost oversimplify it, right? And
Yeah.
start from there.
Yeah.
Survival mode, in my experience, is making the best choice for the moment, but repeatedly. So not just in
Mm,
isolation, not just the best choice for right now and giving
yeah.
yourself grace. This goes beyond that to every decision that's being made. It's
Yeah.
in the lens of the best choice for the moment. And leading yourself involves more having more clarity around your vision, and that vision not only existing but being supported by a combination of decision filters that are guiding choices in the moment,
Yeah.
in combination with a healthy amount of those best for the moment choices. But those bigger decisions are all falling within a vision that you have for yourself. And I will say too, survival mode crept up on me as as things that were behind the scenes that other people couldn't see. And so some of those things can also be success or things that I always wanted. I
Yeah.
wanted to, be able to come together in my own family unit. We wanted to invite another member into our family. We wanted to move and do all these great things. And it's like, oh, I'm getting all the things I asked for. That's great
Yeah.
until it's not.
Yeah, 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 but also it's the timing of that too, because I like how you said you're making the right decision for the moment, right? So that means you're kinda stuck, like, in this moment, like, very short-sighted, very tactically, very execution focused, like, "I need to move, I need to find a bigger place, I need to find this, I need to, make this decision," and some of those things, like you mentioned these external factors, you can't necessarily bring that to the Monday morning meeting. "Hey, guys, I know you wanna talk about this presentation, but I gotta move that I have to figure out."
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, okay, so when it comes to like high functioning burnout, just because you mentioned like you're 3 months fresh, right? What do you wish that more people understood about it?
Mhm. There's a lot,
Okay.
and what people understood about it will be very unique to maybe my situation, and maybe some people can relate to that. But I think it's important to note that some of these understandings may not apply to everyone, and that they have their own version of what they wish
Yeah,
people could understand.
absolutely.
But the biggest glaring thing for me is that it can be nearly indetectable until it's not. And so what that can mean is that others are seeing you be successful or handle all of the things, being that badge of honor, and they don't know to even offer support.
Yeah.
And even further, they're offering not just a lack of support, but praise for the behaviors that they're seeing.
Yeah.
Um, and so it can also be lonely because we can take on more. The fall from the high of all of that praise that builds up over time, when you do tank or when it does go down from that high, it's a lot of a sharper of a decline, and it can be even less predictable. Some of those signs that you may hear about, of like, oh well, are you noticing that you're more tired or this or that? Well, for me, being more tired is a badge of honor. I have a military background. I'm like, that means I actually did something that day, being
Yeah.
exhausted because it
Yeah.
was praised.
Yeah.
And so some of the things that we may think are helpful can be the very things that are harmful for those that are high functioning differently than someone who is burning out and having that lived experience in a different way.
Yeah, I like that you bring up that, when you get the praise, it's kind of addicting, right? Because it feels like
Mhm.
you made an achievement, right? But at the same time, if we aren't zooming out to strategy and understanding, hey, is this the best for me right now?
Mhm.
Like let's just say with your move or with even external things that are happening in your family, maybe you can't work all-nighters. Maybe you shouldn't be working all-nighters. Maybe you really do need 8 hours of sleep or maybe 12 hours of sleep. But I think it's pausing, right, in the moment to know that I need to reset, or perhaps this isn't aligned to where I want to go. And it's asking ourselves questions, at least for me. I know you said, hey, this is how it showed up for you. For me, I never asked myself questions. Like, is this what you really want? When was the last time you slept? Or even assessing, like doing like a body assessment, like you're snapping on people. Have you really eaten lately? Like, when was the last time you really had a meal versus leftovers or granola bar at your desk? Like, that's what I like to look at as far as leading yourself differently, because to your point, if we listen to all the external factors and all the external praise, you can get caught up in that and completely lose yourself. Man,
Very easily.
yeah, yeah. So I want to talk about like building support systems, right? Like what does it look like to have a support system? Because often when you're in survival mode, we can have a reactive support system or a proactive support system. So let me just by definition, reactive is I'm going to vent to my coworker because she understands that this deliverable, this ask makes no sense. I'm going to vent to my partner in the moment because I am frustrated and I got to tell somebody, right? And proactive, I see is like things that you go to consistently to recharge yourself. So that could be a walk between meetings. It could be a movement break. It could be going to church on Sundays. Or for those of you who don't go to church, maybe it's like weekly meeting up with your friends to have dinner where you don't talk about work. You know what I mean? Like you talk about fun things or reliving old memories. That's how I see proactive support. So I'm curious, Brooklyn, how did you lean on your family, your friends, or your partner just during multiple transitions? Like, what kind of support really helped you most when you were holding a lot? And before you answer, I want those who are listening in with us to think about that for yourself, because again, often when we're in the moment, we're looking for the quickest person we can vent download to, but sometimes you need to understand truly who is your support system. So yeah, Brooklyn, what kinds of support helped you?
Absolutely. For me in particular, I would say, and I'll tell you why I've selected these people as my support system: my mother,
Okay.
my partner, and my therapist. There are others there, kind of builds out from there, but those
Okay.
are definitely at my core. And what all of them have in common is that they saw through success and saw
Hmm.
me as a person, and they cared more about my long-term growth than they did about my feelings in the moment.
Ooh.
They
Wow. Now that is a
care
support
enough about me
system.
to hurt my feelings.
Yes. No, but I love that, right? Because sometimes we're looking for that friend who will give us validation in the moment. But it sounds like your partner and your mom, and definitely your therapist, they're gonna say, maybe we should rethink that. Like I hear you in the moment. Or maybe they're very direct, like that's a bad idea. You're not doing that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And they know to show up and ask, what do you need from me right now? It's not all or
Mm.
nothing. It is that, and of course, this has been built over years and years of relationship building, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's like, do you need to vent? And then they help me get it out, like be mad with me. It's kind of what we call it. Be mad with me for a second, and then we'll talk about perspective.
I like
But
that.
the
I like
important
that.
piece is coming back to perspective and how can we make this actionable afterward. And sometimes it is just getting it out, but the action for me looked like reaching out to have the conversation in the first place, and not going to the next coworker or the friend who's going to validate it and be like, okay, let's feel froggy and leap. Like, no,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
more in the moment thinking,
Yeah.
and they have the longer term of me in mind, and from a well-rounded perspective. Like, my
Mhm.
mother knows who I am from my past. I'm building my future and empire with my partner. And my
Yeah.
therapist, I pay her to be objective. So it's nice to have a third party as well.
No, but I like, okay, there's so many things I like. I like that you said that your mother knew you before, she knew you before any of the stress happened, any of this the current situational piece, right? And she also knows what you're capable of, right? So she is there to push you. I love that part because I think often we just look for our newer friends who kind of know who we are now, but they forget, all of who we are, like the totality of it. And then the therapist. So many people, don't want to reach out for objective help or therapy just to get an objective, unbiased perspective, like, hey, this is what I'm hearing. Is this what you mean, or what does that mean? So I love that your therapist is a part of your support group. um I I want to ask, like, why do you feel like it's important for us to have people who love us enough to say slow down, or to say be mad with me right now? Because, like, why is that so critical? I think it's so overlooked. So that's why I just want to unpack that some more.
So I wish I had gone into it and like I wish I could say, oh, I knew that's exactly what I needed. And really what it looked like is that I stumbled upon that
Okay.
and life just against my will filtered out some people who were not that. And what was left in some of the hardest times of my life and some of those times in burnout were the people who I knew were the trunk of the tree. I don't know if you've ever heard that analogy, like the trunk of the tree, you've got your branches and and then you've got leaves for different seasons. And really figuring out who the trunk of that tree was for me,
Mm,
I found just over time, naturally. And like I said, for me, it anchors down to who cares more about helping you determine what success looks like with your well-being in mind beyond just what does success look like for you in the moment,
yeah.
um, and being willing to share the hard truths even if I don't want to hear it, I'm not ready to
Mhm.
hear it. Like somebody has to say the thing in the room,
Yeah.
otherwise you're just going back to societal praise or certain groups that like you can get praise in a lot of different ways, but it goes back to me kind of thinking, okay, where do I find fulfillment? And is
Mm,
it just one kind of fulfillment? And I'm over indexing on something like my career, which has happened. Um, or is it being more well rounded and having like you have yourself as an individual, yourself as maybe a parent, yourself as a sister, a brother, a daughter, like all these different lenses that really make up the whole you. And
yeah.
so being able to have somebody who can feed more parts of you than
Mm,
just one facet, has I really found to be helpful. And those, and I do want to say too, like for those that let you push through it, that don't necessarily see it, it doesn't mean they don't care either. I really have empathy for those who are not necessarily in that trunk of core support. Um, and sometimes they can just be more impressed than concerned until
oh,
it, like more impressed than concerned about what it is they're seeing, but it's all well
mm,
intentioned
yeah,
for the
yeah,
most part.
yeah,
But yeah, I hope that that answers that. It's something I'm still navigating and understanding myself
yeah.
as I'm figuring out who's there for me and in what way.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And, a lot of us women who are just high functioning, just high go, go, go. I just want to say, like, you are not a machine. Like, even high processing machines, that are in manufacturing facilities, they shut down for maintenance. Right. And that maintenance, it is to optimize them. So even if you think that you got it all figured out and you're good with the pace, I want to encourage you just to do two things. One, to think about who is your support system. Reactive, because it's good to have someone to vent to in the moment. I'll be honest about that. But also proactive, like who is there to uplift you, who really can lend an ear and be what you need in the moment. Maybe that friend is just a jokester, and they don't do anything. They aren't necessarily a serious person for you in your life, but maybe that's what energizes you and helps you reset and take 10 steps back from where you are. Because again, if we're so focused tactically on what to do, what to execute today, right now, keep making these small decisions while we're in survival mode, we'll never step back and understand what is the true strategy. Oh man. This is pretty awesome. It's so funny because I'm a part of I'll just say like an affinity group, and it's all volunteer positions. And someone, Brooklyn, this one person like raised their hand and they said, "Hey, I'm actually drowning." And I looked at her and I said, what do you mean you're drowning? You just said that you were going to do all these things and everything you brought forth. So, thus far has been amazing. And I had to check myself because I was so used to seeing her being go mode and handle it and fix it and not ask for help. That when she did, I was just what planet are we on? Like, what's happening? Like, are you sure this is happening? And then I thought about it like, yeah, honestly, like every slam dunk after slam dunk, she hasn't asked for help. She's managed processes from A to Z. Maybe some of us should step up. So I just want to encourage those who feel like, okay, I can't step back. I can't pause. Yes, you should pause, right? But also when you do mention it to other people, they may meet you with some resistance. Like, what do you mean? But that doesn't mean it's wrong, right? We need to give ourselves permission, to be all of ourselves, right? And we need to break free from just performing. And like that kind of brings me to like our last point that I want to talk with you today about is
Mhm.
sometimes like exhaustion. Oh man, the exhaustion of masking in professional spaces. I want you to think like, have you ever felt like pressure to code switch or shrink in order to succeed? I know I definitely have. If you're with us and you're online, please put something in the chat, like a comment or one or me also, because this code switching thing, it's a lot of people overlook it. Like Brooklyn, what are your thoughts on code switching or shrinking to succeed? Have you felt that?
Uh, a big yes in all caps, bold and underlined. And I will say, even for this section, it is some in-flight work, and
Yeah.
that I will say right now, some people are not going to love my answers, and that's okay. And that's how,
Come
like,
on, give
just
it to us. That's how we learn from hearing other people's perspectives. I like it.
so. First of all, where did it come from? Where did it all start for me? I think that's important, whether it's like a recent experience or something that's been built up over time. And for me, it's been over time. It started as early as elementary school.
Oh,
I'm from Arkansas, and starting out
love that.
having
Love
elementary
that.
school up north in Indiana, the first thing to go was my accent. Unless you catch me right after getting off the phone with my grandmother, and then we're in a different situation. But that was my first exposure to like, oh, like you sound funny. Like, oh, guess what? We're not gonna do anymore. Let's figure out how to sound differently. And then next it was dressing or presenting myself in an overly conservative, by way of not being vain way. As I grew up, and that was more one parent than the other, but I don't know if we have any other preachers' kids out there or
PKs,
people
PKs.
people who have not always had the healthiest relationship with faith through poor example. That has colored my experience with masking as well. And then I found myself, as I was finding my footing in my professional career and around certain audiences, whether that was how I view those audiences may have been colored by my upbringing, whether that's somebody who may be considered affluent or somebody who's Caucasian. But I really started to double down on some of that foundation of masking
Yeah.
and presenting myself in a more curated way. And
Mm,
then, similar to before, where taking on more and more because of the praise, when I found success through masking, and really leaned into, being myself, being biracial, it's like sometimes you're not white enough, sometimes you're not black enough. And depending on the environment, I just showed up in a way that I felt like was going to help me out in that situation.
mm.
Some of that survival instinct, if you will, rather than just a healthy blending in or it's not the word I'm looking for. Essentially wanting to build positive relationships, healthy relationships in an authentic way. But that is something that I still continue to do genuinely out of fear of like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
have, I'm a very evidence-based person. And so in my life, I've had more evidence of what has shown to be successful. And I
mhm.
don't have enough evidence yet to feel comfortable enough, safe enough, if you will,
Okay.
to unmask in certain situations. And so right now, the struggle, the effort, the exhaustion that is 100% there
Yeah.
still feels worth it because I am not in a place yet where I am on that journey where I can be like, oh no, I can show up 100% authentically and whatever
Mm.
happens, happens. Logically, I believe that. And I believe that one day I will get there. And I hope that for others. And I'm okay with acknowledging where I am on that journey right now. And so each time I show a little bit more of myself, share a little bit more personal story at work in a conversation, and that gets accepted.
Yeah.
Little by little, I can feel safer and safer to do that. And really big credit to who I have as leadership right now. I'm very blessed to have psychological safety on the teams that I have,
Mm.
with the
Yeah.
demographics of the organization that I'm in. That's a very unique position to be in. And so I'm taking full advantage of all of that pouring into me and letting that supplement those experiences, supplement the
Yeah.
deeper work that
I
I'm
like
doing.
that. I like
So
that. I like the supplement comment because sometimes people feel like it's all or nothing, right? But it's a, it's a continuous practice, right? Especially daily. And you're right. I mean, to succeed in corporate America, certain things, at least we'll go back 20 years ago, right? Um, certain things just were acceptable and weren't. And when we were starting our experience in corporate America, all of those rules still applied. So as those are kind of like eroding, yes, maybe there will be space to continue to be and show up as your authentic self, right? But in the interim, we have to find ways to have growth practices or internal growth to supplement for that. So let me ask, what growth practices like keep you grounded in who you are, especially when life is chaotic?
I would say the biggest thing for me personally has been therapy.
Okay.
There are a lot of external factors that are very easy to anchor to and
Yeah.
feel a lot more rewarding
Mhm.
than therapy. I am, again, so lucky, so blessed to have had the same Black lady therapist for 7 years. And
Yes.
so she has been able to grow with me through all of the phases, but continuing that on a bi-weekly or even weekly basis helps me to feel safe within myself so that I can provide my own validation so that I don't need that validation from my professional environment to tell
Yeah.
me how to operate. I can just show up.
Yes.
That is
Yes.
the biggest thing that is more maintenance and ongoing. But specifically when things get chaotic, right? We're in between sessions, if you will. And I do have a little bit of a framework that I have found that has worked for me. And so
Oh,
I imagine it may work for other
yeah, share it.
naturally high performers. So I call document, delegate, and reset. So when it's chaotic, there's a lot swimming around in our brain and it can feel bigger and bigger. And my worst fear is like, I forgot something or feeling like I forgot something. So
Okay.
document, I just brain dump, I get it on paper. And I don't mean journaling, I mean free writer journal, however you want to do it. I mean a bulleted list.
Mhm.
It is important to say that this is not a to-do list. This is it's outside of my brain list. Delegate. Now that it's on paper, for me, it looks like having my partner look at the list and tell me,
Mm.
hey, here's what's in my brain right now. I don't want to tell you what to do, but this is what I'm feeling and what I'm seeing. This is the cognitive load on a piece of paper. He's also analytical. So this is what works for our communication style. And he can
Yeah.
say, okay, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z things. The last time we did it, he put more on his plate than was on mine, but it didn't even
Mm.
occur to me to ask for help. And
Yeah.
once we
Yeah.
decide, here's our path forward, or
Yeah.
you decide for yourself what's manageable, here's our path forward, I then feel comfortable enough to reset. Because if I don't document and delegate, the reset is a fiction. It's just me pretending to reset, but I can't even relax because it's all still swimming around in my brain.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and then the sprinkle on top is that naps are powerful. And maybe I'm a little biased in my third trimester, but I would be remiss if I didn't say a good old fashioned kindergarten nap.
I love
Does
that. I love
wonders
it.
if you
Yes.
can manage it.
Yes, 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 yes. No, I really like how you said document because again, sometimes there's so many things going on in our mind and we think we got it, right? Don't forget to do this. Don't forget. Okay, I got it, right? But then more things get added or you forget. And then on top of that, we talked about it before where all of these things are going on and no one knows about it. So I like how you share it with your partner, right? So that way he can see, hey, what is happening, right? And then from there, you figure out like what to do next. Will your partner step up and take some things, or maybe your partner will even question some things like, hey, I know this is on your list, but we don't need to do that for a few months. Is that really critical right now? Right? It's like that different perspective. Yeah. And again, Brooklyn, that goes back from, laser focus, right? So focused to like kind of zooming out and looking at strategy instead of tactically. Oh man,
Absolutely.
this conversation has been so awesome. Every time I talk to you, man, I just feel like there's so much learning. So now I have like a new framework I can use. I like this.
Absolutely. And if it's okay with you, I
Yeah.
want to make a quick note, because me having my own family unit and having a supportive partner is a recent development in the grand scheme of life. And I know if I had heard the advice I just gave before that, I would have felt a little left out. And
Okay.
so an alternative, or how we may be able to solve for that on our own, is delegate to who you do have in your circle. Like, who do you think is willing to support you, or they just want to know how to help? Find some things that are manageable, or somebody else that you trust to go through the list, or at least somebody that'll tell you, yeah, no, that can wait.
Yeah.
A very worst case scenario, start looking at consequences based instead of what I can accomplish based.
Oh,
So if this doesn't happen in this time frame, what is the absolute worst that can happen? And
mm,
whatever has the greatest consequences, that's how you start prioritizing, if
yeah.
it feels safe for you to do so and have that train of thinking. But that's all. I just wanted to make sure that
No, I like
people
that
don't
too.
have
And one
that.
thing I will add to your ad is if you're, solo, solo and trying to figure it out, sometimes delegating isn't delegating it to other people, it's delegating it to services or systems, right? So
Mm.
maybe that means your grocery delivery is on, rinse and repeat, right? Or maybe your groceries get delivered instead of you physically going to the grocery store. Maybe, like maybe that's something you can do that can help. And I like the delivery piece because you can, on that app, you can say, hey, I need a schedule for Saturday morning at 8 a.m. And in your PJs, you walk to the front
Mhm.
door and pick them up. And that helps tremendously, right? Because
Food
sometimes just getting to the
delivery.
grocery store, that's
Yes.
20 minutes. Writing the list, that's another 20 minutes. Making sure you didn't forget anything. Yeah, so don't
Mhm.
forget systems also can help you delegate. So Brooklyn, before you go, I have some hot seat questions for you. I have to ask them before you go. I know we're running long on time, so I'll just ask one. Um, what's the most rebellious thing you've done for your well-being?
Mm. Felt rebellious. I would say saying no to something that I hard committed to, and
Okay.
doing it
Ooh,
within a few days of the
mhm.
commitment, because it was for the greater good.
Okay,
And
I like that.
it was worth it. Guess what? I'm still here.
I like that. I like that. Sometimes you do have to pause and say, I'm not doing, I can't, the nap is waiting for me right now. So this task, it's going to have to wait until tomorrow? And that's where real leadership begins because burnout or overfunctioning, it isn't a personal failure. It's often like the perfectly rational response to like an unsustainable way of living, working, or performing. If Brooklyn's story resonated with you, please share this conversation. Tag a friend who needs to hear it. And most of all, I want you to ask yourself, where am I still trying to survive when I deserve to thrive? Man, that's good. That should be a bumper sticker. That was actually really good. I like that
Yes, sounds
one.
like.
Um, and that's exactly why I'm hosting my Power Without Burnout Masterclass. It's a session designed to help high achieving women learn how to lead themselves without the emotional overdraft. Brooklyn, where can people find you if they want to find you or connect with you? I don't know if you're taking connection requests on LinkedIn. I don't know if you're a one and
Most certainly
done.
am. Absolutely. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Brooklyn Smith, the big old black banner. It says National Guard on it as well. I believe it's Brooklyn N. Smith,
Okay.
veteran at the direct link to LinkedIn, but I'll share that information with you and we can put it in where people can find it.
Okay, awesome. Brooklyn, I'm so happy we were able to connect. And for those of you who are still hanging with us, I just want to remind you, burnout doesn't mean you're broken. It just means that your current pace, your performance, or your priorities may not be sustainable. And that's a leadership moment, just awareness in itself. So Go find something nice to do for yourself, a way to pause today instead of pushing through. You got this.